more. Hey there. Okay, I'm going to talk about games today. Though, quick, one thing about the book club from last week, the great, interesting responses. Please understand, sometimes when I list things, it's not like a top 5. It's just 5 good things. So there's many other books I like, but everyone likes those books. So I just picked 5 different ones. Anyway, so just understand. Anyway, that kind of relates in the most obscure, obtuse way to what I'm about to say. Back to the games. So, 6 Days in Fallujah. This is the game that Konami's publishing that's attempting to recreate the experience of the invasion of Fallujah with a lot of advice and sort of detailing coming from many of the Marines who are in the battalions that actually went through that invasion, which was challenging, to say the least. There was a fair amount of flack in the press with regard to the game as if, well, how could we make a game out of something like this? Obviously something that was a very challenging and troubling time in military, or recent military history. And I don't know. I have some problems with this. First and foremost, I was just at the Konami Gamers Day, and I sat down and did some interviews with one of the Marines who is an advisor on it, and the head of Atomic Games, who actually is in charge of something much larger than just a game-making group out in North Carolina. And I was very, very impressed with this gentleman, who, you have to forgive me, I do this off the top of my head, and I just blanked on his name. He made it very clear. There is no political agenda in this game, whether or not the war was a good idea, whether or not the war was a bad idea. I think to go either way would be incredibly crass and disrespectful, obviously, to the troops that engaged in that battle. He said it really was born of many of the Marines coming back that he would be dealing with and wanting to do a project like this. I don't know if it's for purposes of therapy. I don't think so. But to really kind of convey what they went through, which was intense, to say the very least. He was a little bit taken aback by the response, though not entirely surprised. But it really sort of moves into a different thing, because I haven't played the game, but I definitely do feel that their intentions in making this game are very sincere. Whether or not the game is going to be good or bad as a result of that, only time will tell. What they showed in terms of video was very limited, and obviously the game is very early on in its development, and to pass any judgment at this juncture would be absolutely irresponsible. Having said that, I think what they're doing is very, very intriguing. Here's where the issue is. What really is the postulate that's driving these complaints about the game is this sense that games are supposed to be fun. This is kind of a problem because we do use the word games. And when you think of kick the can and chutes and ladders, one doesn't usually engage in those activities out of a sense of obligation. But the fact is, we are using games as in video games. If we had something else, interactive entertainment, that doesn't sound as good, it would probably be more truthful. The fact is, we think that games are supposed to be fun. And on the whole, most games are fun. I think when you ask somebody to actually be interactive with something for the amount of time that you're usually asked to in a game, you need to be deriving some type of pleasure. But do they need to always be fun? That's the question, and that's, I think, the issue at hand. Yes, there is a group of serious games. You always get emails, or I do, for the serious game summits that happen at GDC and other conferences. But those do tend to skew more towards the educational, and they seem to be fairly sequestered from the larger commercial marketplace of games. Does a game need to be fun? Well, let's look at other art. Painting, books, film. There's many, many works that fall into those media that I truly respect and I'm absolutely impressed by. Can't say I walked out of it going, or looked at it or read it and went, oh, that was the time of my life. It can be very hard. Read the Brothers Karamazov, The Idiot, something like that. Or, go to any gallery and look at Jackson Pollock. I can't say I had the, wow, this is fun looking at the splatter, but it's fascinating. If we can only make games fun, then the medium is never, ever going to mature. And it is never, ever going to be taken seriously. And that's why I think that Fallujah presents probably one of the rare, unique opportunities, especially in this economic climate, where there's something that is commercially viable that really has an opportunity of presenting an experience, an interactive experience that not necessarily is the time of your life. But we can all come out of it with hopefully a better appreciation for what those troops went through and what actual war is supposed to be like. I love Call of Duty 4. I am not under any misassumptions that that's what a battle is supposed to be like. You do tend to be something of a sociopath in that game, and I know that Fallujah is really trying to drill home how these Marines had to work in concert in their groups if any of them was going to survive. The fact is, fun is great. I prefer to have fun than most other feelings in life, but I also love games, admire games, and want to look 20 years from now back at where we are and say, wow, look how far we came. We're great on the technology, but we do need to move forward in these other areas so that games become as dominant, as respected as all the other art forms out there. So I wish all the best to Atomic Games. I cannot wait to see what you have, and hope I didn't put a little bit of extra pressure on you.